Okay, so today for Morrissey Friday, we have My Hurling Days Are Done. So this one was requested, a few songs from actually this album of I Am Not a Dog in a Chain have been requested, more recent Morrissey. So finally, here we are, a 5-minute track in 1 second, I should say. So yeah, let's listen to it. My Hurling Days Are Done. I kind of have maybe a thing of what might happen here. Maybe he's going to talk about how he's getting older. But anyway, let's get into it. And we all do. We all get old. Let's go.
Time will mold you and craft you, but soon when you're looking away, it will slide up and shaft you. Oh time, oh time, no friend of mine. Mama and Teddy Bear were the first full, firm spectrum of time. Now my hurling days are done, and there's no one to tell, and there's nowhere to run. Time, all blossoming clover, but soon it will say, okay, come on son, bend over. Oh time, oh time, no friend of mine.
Love the piano.
Oh, Mama and Teddy Bear were the first full, firm spectrum of time. But now my hurling days are done, and there's no one to tell, and there's nowhere to run. Places no pressure on you, but soon it explains what it means by the funky Alfonso. Oh time, oh time, no friend of mine. Now my hurling days are done, and there is no one to tell, and there's nowhere to run. We'll send you an invoice, and you pay with your strength and your legs and your sight and your voice. Oh, Mama and Teddy Bear were the first full, firm spectrum of time. But now my hurling days are done, and there is to tell, and there's nowhere to run.
My God. All right. So, Morrissey, my hurling days are done. So, I want to say off the top, with this album, I am not a dog on a chain. I think I've done one reaction to this record, I want to say, and I enjoyed that song. And also, people have told me that this album is very good. You know, is kind of a return to form for Morrissey. A lot of great tracks on it. And this one, I have to say, is a great track. You know, a great 5-minute track. But at the same time, it's so sad. I mean, you could see during my reaction, I mean, I was just like, ooh, you know, kind of learning how sad this really is lyrically, because the music does sound a little bit bright. It does sound a little bit flowery at times, but there is that, obviously, that intense kind of building piano in there, which is a little bit dark. But at the same time, you know, I don't know, you don't get an intense, I guess, gloomy mood from the music, I would say. I don't think you do anyway. But with these lyrics, of course, and how Morrissey is delivering them with kind of, you know, his pain and kind of sounding frustrated and just very, you know, expressionate. It's just, if that's what I'm looking for. He's showing a lot of expression. He's being very emotional. And talking about time. He talks about time so many times in the song. And time is undefeated. You can't defeat time. Everyone grows old. If they're lucky, you know, you grow old and you pass away when you're 80, 90, whatever. Or, you know, like I say, if you're lucky, unless you pass before that somehow. But yeah, growing old and just all the stuff that goes along with that. And just, it's just like, I mean, Morrissey is, I want to say, what, 63 or something like that? Early 60s anyway, almost mid-60s now. And how he's not who he used to be. He's not, you know, the guy that people saw come on the scene with the Smiths in like 1982. He's not that boy anymore. He's not that guy with the pompadour anymore. It's just, you know, and people, you know, because he's been in the public eye for so long, he's changed. He's gotten older, obviously, and now he's 60, whatever. And yeah, when you think about it, it's time. Time goes by. And it's just weird how, I don't know, it's just weird to really think about time and think about how people change and just how you can't stop that, how people grow old, and you just can't stop the aging process. And I mean, as many people wish they could, you just can't. Everyone's going to die. And when you're like 60 something years old, maybe that's when you have those thoughts, or maybe earlier. I've heard people say once you turn 30, you know, years just fly by. And again, you know, as somebody who's 25, it's just, I don't know, now I'm feeling like I'm 70 and I'm just looking at, you know, death in the face, and it's not a fun time. I mean, some people, maybe they want to die, but a lot of people don't. They want to live forever. And, you know, I think about, again, live forever, Oasis. But anyway, yeah, so it's sad. Just, you can, like I said, you can hear the pain. And I think about how he says, my hurling days are done. So hurling, obviously, I'm thinking, is he talking about hurling himself at someone? You know, those days are done. Because again, he's talked about how he's kind of an introverted person. He's talked about, obviously, his loneliness. He's talked about stuff like that. And you know, I'm never going to hurl myself at anyone again. Those days are done. But also, when he talks about hurling, I feel like that just encompasses everything. You know, my old days, I'm never going to be able to run like I used to. I'm not going to be able to walk like I used to, especially when I get older, when he's like 80 or whatever. Maybe he's going to be in a wheelchair. Just little things like that, which somebody like me, a young person, takes for granted now, before you know what, I'm going to be 80 and I'm going to be, you know, struggling to walk around or whatever. I'm going to need a cane, whatever, or my sight's going to go, as he talks about her later too, talking about sight and your voice and all that stuff. It's just, again, it's things you don't really think about all the time, but when you think deeply about it, when you get down to it, when you listen to a song like this, I mean, yeah, it's sad, and no one can avoid it. It's just, it's terrible. And I think about too, how yesterday I reacted to a song, What's the Frequency, Kenneth, by R.E.M. And there's a little bit, you know, some parallel there, because, of course, in that song, basically about a guy who's trying to understand the generation of today, and he's just not getting it. And again, in that song, that guy is kind of growing older. He doesn't get what's trendy, and he doesn't get it. He's growing old. He can't do anything about it. And that's a little bit of what's going on here. So I feel like, you know, that kind of how I reacted to that yesterday kind of goes into this one too. But anyway, so with the first verse here, Time will mold you and craft you, but soon, when you're looking away, it will slide up and shaft you. So basically, like I talked about, how time just begins to fly by, really, and someday you wake up and you're 80. Oh time, no friend of mine. And I mean, there is a way, time, when you're like an infant or whatever, and you grow up, and you turn into like a 20-year-old or whatever, time can be your friend at that point. You grow up, you go another year, you turn 18 or you turn 21, I guess, in the States, or 19, whatever, and you can drink or you can smoke or whatever, you can drive a car, all this stuff. And, you like time then, you're a kid. I mean, everything's fun. But then at some point, the years keep going by, and then your time is not your friend anymore. Then we go into the chorus here. And of course, when he says mama, I hear Freddie Mercury in my head. But mama, and teddy bear were the first full, firm spectrum of time. So again, your mom and your teddy bear, like I said, when you're a baby, those are the things you really know. And, a dad too, most likely. But anyway, now my hurling days are done. And there's no one to tell, and there's nowhere to run. Now, I don't know everything about Morrissey's private life, but I see here that apparently Morrissey's mother had, passed away. And that's one thing. Obviously, his mom's gone, and I'm feeling there's no one to tell things to now that his mom's gone. There's nowhere to run, and especially when you grow older, and if you don't have children or anything like that, and your parents are gone, or maybe your friends have passed away. I mean, goddamn, you're lonely, you're alone, and that's just sad. Such a depressing scene here. Time, a blossoming clover, but soon we'll say, okay, come on, son, bend over. I mean, that's kind of a little a cheeky way, I guess you would say, of saying, time, death, I guess, bend over, die now, whatever. Oh time, no friend of mine. Soon time will take you away and put you in the ground, or in an urn. We go into the chorus one more time. My hurling days are done. Third verse, time places no pressure on you, but soon it explains what it means by the Funky Alfonso. So there is an annotation here, and apparently Funky Alfonso is a song from Frank Zappa, which was St. Alfonso's Pancake Breakfast. And it goes on, it says, in which Zappa says at one point, get on your feet and do the Funky Alfonso. So I guess Morrissey is a fan of Frank Zappa. I guess you would take from that. Anyway, you go on, oh time, no friend of mine. I love how he keeps repeating that. I talked about earlier, how many times he talks about time, and how it's no friend of his. He really wants to get to the cross. And we have the chorus, fourth verse, time will send you, this verse here, this is where I think I had an audible kind of reaction in the video. Time will send you an invoice, and you pay with your strength, your legs, and your sight, and your voice. So again, as basic as you can put it, I mean, we know this happens when you're old. Your strength goes. You're not as strong as you used to be. I mean, my God, you're more brittle. Your legs, like I said, you can't walk or run like you used to. Your sight is worse, and your voice, it kind of gets littler, if you want to say it. It goes little. And you can't yell like you used to be able to, or whatever, or scream or whatever. It's just how it goes. Then the chorus finishes it off, with his talking about his mom once again, but now his hurling days are done, and there's nowhere to tell, and there's nowhere to run. It's just, he paints such a depressing picture here. I did not expect to come into this and talk about and talk about such a sad affair. But yeah, I love how Morrissey's taking this. I love how he's being honest. I love how he's talking about this, because this is something that everyone goes through at some point in their life. Of course, as you grow old, this is going to happen, and there's no escaping it, and there's no one to tell, and there's nowhere to run. If you don't have somebody around you, if you don't have a support system, you're just kind of alone, and it's sad. It's just like, my God, what a heart-wrenching track. So real and so brutal. And it is weird to think about, because I've never really thought about it, but you think about bands, and it's maybe because I wasn't there. I'm only 25. I didn't watch these people grow up. I never saw Morrissey grow up in front of my eyes. I've only known him as like a 60-year-old, and I've heard his older stuff. Or you think about the Rolling Stones, who used to be like all 20 whatever years old. Now they're all 80. It's just weird. You think about how these guys are closer to death. It's sad, but that's how it happens. And someday they'll all be gone. Or I think about one of my favorite bands is Oasis, and I know some people don't like Oasis, but I think about the Gallagher brothers and how they used to be 20 and now they're both like in their 50s and they both hate each other even more. But yeah, and how they used to be, such young stars, and now they're old. And it's just, I don't know, it's just so weird to think about how people go from that young age to that old age. And maybe it's because also my favorite musician, pretty much frontman of all time, is Jim Morrison. And Jim Morrison obviously died in 1971 at the age of 27. He never got past 27. I never saw him old or whatever. Nobody saw him be old. So yeah, maybe that's just one thing in my head because I love Jim Morrison so much and I only know him as a 27-year-old. But when you think about people and musicians who are old now, who, you know, started out in the 50s or 60s or 70s, 80s, whatever, it is weird to think about how these guys are just old now. And you know, they're not who they used to be. They can't function like they used to. So anyway, I don't know. We're getting deep now. But yeah, thanks for the request for this song. It made me think. It's a very sad song, but a very real song, and a song that needed to be written, and a song that seems like Morrissey needed to write too. This sounds like something that he put in like a diary or a journal or something, talking about getting old and just that kind of stuff. Something you would talk about with a therapist. It's just like, I'm getting old. What the hell do I do? And yeah, I really enjoyed it, and it's so relatable, and so many people feel this. So yeah, thanks for watching, I guess. Thanks for liking, subscribing, commenting, and thanks for listening to me go on some tangents too. But yeah, thanks for all that, and I'll talk to you guys again soon.